All right, we are moving on to card number 2 from the Sweet Sunflower Paper Pumpkin Kit from August of 2022. Now this card, I'm sad to say I used an envelope and a part of this card. You will have this whole piece left over to work with, and then we will use this other half for another card. Here's what we're going to make. This is going to flip up, and this is going to flip open. So it's kind of a fun fold idea, using some of these pieces and parts this time. So we're going to cut the card in half. And this is the piece that I said, well, I didn't design anything with it, so you can make another card. It would be a beautiful card front itself, and then just stamp something in like this dark purple or green down here, a bigger word set if you have one. And then we're going to cut this in half again. It should be at 2 3/4. Roughly should be half. We'll use this for another card, and we're going to work with this piece for this card. We have our envelope, and we're just going to cut a slice off each side just to give us enough to be able to open it up. And if you don't want to waste your envelope, you can just use this piece here, right here. You could do that too. You could just slice it down to the 4 by 5 1/4 and use that piece. And then let me show you. If we close it down, then you could have a little room. You could stamp something else down there. But we're going to open up the envelope, and then we need it to be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to just slice. We slice the end up. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to slice up to here, so that I have a straight line. I didn't cut far enough through it. And then now we go straight all the way up to the, pretty much till we get the curvature there. We can come up now and cut that curvature off. And then we are good to cut at 4 inches, because that's how wide we want our piece to be. You can save this. You could probably do a little something decorating with that. And then we want it to be 5 1/2. So you do have the fold line here from the flap. And so let's see, we want this to be 5 1/4. So if we go to that flap and put the flap at 5 1/4, we're going to get this fold here. And this one's thicker, so I'm going to work with this up here, and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. I'm going to put that aside for a second. So now that you see we've got the that line in there, you could take your bone folder and just kind of rub on it a little bit, and that might help decrease the amount of creases in there, if that makes sense. Just by rubbing it a little bit. Now we've got a piece of paper that is 8 1/2 by 11. It's a full sheet of paper. So what we want to do is our card is going to open up like a normal card. So we're going to score it at 5 1/2. And then we're going to work with the top half the top quarter. So we know that the halfway mark, I'm just gonna make some little imprints for you. So we know that the halfway mark is at 4 1/4. Okay, so I just got this little line on there. And so in my measuring, I know that I want to make that line all the way down to the 5 1/2 line. And then we want to cut this piece out. So I'm going to bring my cutting blade back in, and I'm going to cut down to 5 1/2. And then I'm going to cut that off, that panel off. And so that's going to go to 4 1/4. Should pop out of there when it's cut, but I'm going to finish it with my scissors so that I don't. Alright, so I cut that out of there. So now we need this piece in the center is, move my card out of there, I've got it at 3 inches wide because this piece, when we cut it, is at 2 3/4. So we want this to be 3 inches wide and in the center. So I measured, we need to cut off 5/8 of an inch on each side. So we're going to bring our paper over on this side to 5/8, and we will cut down to the 5 1/2 inch mark. And then we can do the same thing. I'm flipping it over, and we will move it out to the 5/8 inch mark and pull it down to 5 1/2. Set that aside, and you could then turn the paper and use the cutter again. I'm going to use my scissors and trim these two pieces off. At the 5 1/2 mark, and then just because I want this piece to fold over and lay down more, I'm going to add another score line. I'm going to go this way, just a little tiny bit before the other one. So it's going to leave a little tiny bit of room in there for that to fold over and this one to kind of bend back. And then, let me move this out of the way. And then that will leave the room that we will need. So this is going to fold in, and then this is going to fold down over the top, and with that extra little tiny bit that we put in there from a second score line, that is going to allow this to lay flatter. But this we need to cut off. It's a little bit longer than what we need. And so I'll show you. This is, oh, it's 4 1/4. That makes sense. It's 4 1/4. So we need this piece from the fold to be at 4 1/2. So you can, I'll put the score line at 4 1/2. You could cut that off from the very beginning. And then that's it basically for this card, you guys. We're just going to now layer our pieces on top. Pretty easy, no stamping on this one, just a Well, on the inside I put a little bit of stamping, but this one's just a fun fold. We'll put our envelope piece on the outside of here. I'm going to put some glue along that score line and see if I can help to push that put a little weight through there to help draw that score line out. And then on the inside, I have just a white piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put some leaves on the inside. So I got the leaf, and then I've got mossy meadow again. And when you overstamp, you can use it up. And then I just pulled in my aqua painter again. Get the water flowing a little bit. And then I just painted over the top of it a little bit back and forth to smear the ink around. Again, you could go back with your green if you want. And put some of that up through the center to help give that little bit of extra contrast. And then we're going to glue it in. We are done. I'm going to flip it upside down on my paper, which might have been off the screen, sorry. We'll glue this down. Stick it to the inside. And there you have it. There's our second card. Oh, wait a second. I lied. I did put a little bit of bling on there after the fact. I used green on the last one. This one I'm going to use the red ones. No, I think it's too far away. I'll use the green. I'll use some bigger ones on this one. There. Let's put a little bit of the bling on there. And that card is all set.